The clang of steel echoed through the massive hangar, followed by the low hum of engines being tuned by calloused hands. Ryan Malik wiped the sweat from his brow and slid out from under the SUV, grease streaking the side of his cheek. The dust-coated sunlight seeping through the skylight haloed him, like a man meant to be somewhere else, somewhere bigger. But he had made a promise, and promises for Ryan were sacred. Across the workshop, his 10-year-old son, Adi, sat cross-legged on the floor, tinkering with a broken radio with the same calm focus his father had once used in another life. He had no idea that his father, the quiet mechanic who fixed neighborhood cars for a living, had ever been anything more. Ryan liked it that way. "Papa," Adi called. "I think I fixed it." Ryan smiled. Adi's excitement was his favorite sound in the world. He walked over, kneeling beside him. "You didn't just fix it," Ryan said softly, inspecting the radio's rewired circuit board. "You improved it. You learned too fast." Adi grinned shyly. "Like you?" Ryan's smile faded for a fraction of a second, just long enough to remember a world of uniforms, encrypted channels and classified missions. "No," Ryan said gently. "Better than me." Before Adi could reply, the steel doors at the front of the workshop crashed open. A convoy of black luxury SUVs rolled in. Ryan stiffened. Only powerful people arrived like that. From the center vehicle stepped CEO Viraj Sethi, the charismatic but ruthless owner of Sethi Motors, a corporation so large it scarcely noticed the small businesses it crushed on its way to expansion. Ryan stood tall, though he felt the tension gather in his spine. "Ryan Malik," Viraj announced loudly, like he owned the air in the room. "You've been using my company's tools to do under-the-table work. That's theft of resources." Ryan wiped his hands calmly on a rag. "With respect, sir, that's not true. I bought my own equipment. All invoices are in that drawer if you want to see." But Viraj raised a hand, silencing him. "I don't care about your invoices," he snapped. "I care that you work in a garage owned by Sethi Motors, and I want this place cleared out for restructuring." Ryan's jaw clenched. "So you're firing me?" "I'm evicting you," Viraj corrected with a smirk. "Effective immediately." Behind him, several executives snickered. Ryan glanced at Adi, whose expression had turned small and afraid. "Sir," Ryan said, voice steady, "I have worked here for 6 years. I've never taken more than I earned. At least give me time to find—" Viraj stepped closer. "You and that kid of yours can fix radios on the street. I don't run a charity." The mechanic's shop suddenly felt colder. Adi tugged his father's sleeve. "Papa, let's just go." Ryan nodded slowly. Losing this job hurt, but losing control, losing peace, losing the quiet life he had built for his son, that would hurt more. "Fine," Ryan said, grabbing his bag. "We're leaving." But as they turned to go, Viraj added loudly, "Good riddance. Men like you, uneducated nobodies, should be grateful we even gave you a broom." The words hit Ryan harder than a punch. Adi looked up, confused. "Papa, why is he talking like that?" Ryan put a hand on his shoulder. "Because some people think money makes them bigger." Viraj laughed mockingly. "Don't get philosophical. Just get lost." Ryan breathed in once, slow, controlled, a soldier's breath. But no one noticed. Not yet. As Ryan and Adi stepped out of the workshop onto the dusty lot, Viraj turned to his executives, bragging loudly about how he cleaned out the garbage of his company. Halfway across the lot, Ryan suddenly heard something. A distant thrum, a low vibration in the dust, a sound he knew better than his own heartbeat. Rotor blades, heavy ones. Military grade. He froze. Adi looked up at him. "Papa?" Ryan's eyes narrowed against the glare of the sun. Because tearing across the sky, descending rapidly toward them, was something Ryan had not seen in years. A U.S. Navy MH-60 Seahawk helicopter cutting through the air like an angel of war. Viraj and his executives ran outside, startled by the deafening roar. "What the hell is happening?" Viraj shouted. Ryan didn't answer. He already knew. The helicopter lowered until its landing skids barely grazed the ground. Dust exploded in every direction. Adi shielded his eyes, and then, through the roar of the turbine, came a booming voice from a megaphone. "Alpha 1, report immediately." Viraj spun in confusion. Alpha what? Who are they calling? Rayan closed his eyes. The name he had hoped never to hear again. The name he had buried. The identity he had abandoned. The helicopter's loudspeaker roared again. Alpha 1, this is command. We need you in the bird now! Viraj's jaw fell open. Adi's eyes widened, and Rayan slowly exhaled. The promise he had made to stay hidden, to stay away, to stay normal, was cracking apart. The past had found him, and it had arrived in a Navy helicopter. The rotor wash tore at Rayan's clothes as the helicopter's engines thundered. Like a storm trapped inside a metal cage, dust spiraled around him, the ground trembling under the weight of the military machine. Viraj stumbled backward, shielding his face. Why is the Navy here? Who the hell is Alpha 1? He shouted at no one in particular. Rayan met his gaze calmly, a stillness settling over him, the calm of a man who had lived through darker storms than this. He stepped forward slowly. The hangar's metal roof vibrated as the helicopter lowered even more. A side door swung open, and a Navy officer leaned out, gripping a safety cable. Alpha 1, confirm identity, the officer called out. Rayan didn't respond verbally. He simply stepped into the open and raised 2 fingers, a gesture known only to a classified team of operatives. The officer saluted. Instantly, Viraj's eyes widened. Wait, are they talking to you? The arrogant CEO who just minutes earlier had boasted about firing him now looked like a child watching a mountain shift. But Rayan didn't look at him. He looked only at Adi. The boy stepped closer, voice trembling. Papa, what's happening? Rayan knelt down so they were eye to eye. Beta, he whispered, there are things I never told you. Things I hoped I'd never have to. I used to work for people who protect this country in ways most never hear about. Adi blinked. Like a soldier? Something like that, Rayan replied softly. But I left it all to keep you safe, to give you a normal life. Adi swallowed. Are they taking you away? Not if I can help it, Rayan said, brushing his son's hair back. I will always come back for you, always. Before Adi could speak, Viraj stormed toward them, furious and terrified all at once. This is insane, he shouted. Tell them to leave. You can't just... Rayan stood up sharply, the command in his posture so sudden, so instinctive that Viraj froze mid-step. For the first time, Viraj saw the truth, not a mechanic, not an employee, but a soldier, a leader, a man who once held the authority of life and death. Rayan's voice was low, controlled, and deadly calm. Viraj, go back inside. Viraj opened his mouth to protest, and Rayan took 1 step forward. Just one. But it carried the quiet force of a man who had faced enemies that would make Viraj's entire boardroom tremble. Viraj stumbled back like he'd been shoved by an invisible hand. Adi watched silently. Rayan turned to the helicopter. The officer shouted over the engines, Sir, we wouldn't have tracked you unless it was critical. We need your authorization codes. The mission is compromised. Your team insists you're the only one who can fix this. Rayan shook his head. I'm out. I resign. I'm not coming back. The officer replied urgently, Sir, your team is pinned down. They refused extraction until we found you. Those words cut through Rayan like a blade. His team, the people who had once trusted him with their lives, were now risking their lives for him. Rayan looked down at Adi. Papa, Adi whispered, small voice trembling beneath the storm of rotor wash. If they need you, you should go. Rayan's breath caught. How did you get so brave? He asked. Eddie's small fingers curled around his father's grease-stained hand. Because you are. Rayan's heart twisted. The boy didn't know the things Rayan had done, the missions he could never speak of. But he knew one thing. His father never ran from helping others. Rayan exhaled deeply, then nodded. He squeezed Adi's hand once and whispered, I'll come home. As he turned toward the helicopter, Viraj suddenly lunged forward, grabbing Rayan's arm. You can't leave, the CEO shouted desperately. I fired you. You're nothing. You're just a... Rayan slowly turned. His eyes, usually gentle, were steady, now cold, focused like steel sharpened for war. Viraj, he said quietly, you fired the wrong man today. The CEO staggered back. The officer lowered a rope ladder. "Sir, we must go." Ryan gripped the ladder, ready to climb, but turned back one final time. "Ardy," he called out over the deafening roar, "remember what I told you." "I will always return." Eddie nodded, fighting tears but standing tall, strong, brave, determined, just like Ryan had raised him. Ryan climbed aboard. The officers saluted sharply. The door slammed shut. The helicopter lifted, rising like a steel beast awakened. Dust exploded outward, forcing Viraj to cover his face. Ardy stood unmoving, watching his father ascend into the sky, into the world he once commanded. As the MH-60 Seahawk roared upward, the officer inside spoke urgently. "Alpha 1, your team's last transmission mentioned only one phrase. Operation Phoenix is compromised. They said you would understand." Ryan's pulse tightened. Operation Phoenix. A mission he had sworn would never be reopened. A mission that could change everything. He leaned forward, locking in his harness. "Take me to them," he ordered. "Yes, sir." The helicopter banked sharply, slicing through the clouds, vanishing into the horizon. Below, Viraj stared in shock, realizing the man he had insulted, humiliated, and fired was someone powerful enough to have the Navy come for him. Beside him, Ardy whispered through the receding roar, "Come back soon, Papa." The dust settled. The sky returned to silence. But nothing would ever be the same again. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more powerful stories to you. Thank you for watching.